The movie opens with a young woman, Gwen Taylor, speeding down a lonely road toward a small roadside motel called the All Tucked. She's clearly in a rush, already late for her part-time shift. The motel's owner, Teddy Miles, had given Gwen this chance to earn some extra cash, paying her at the end of each night. When she pulls up, Gwen quickly parks and heads inside, but the lobby is strangely empty. The silence unsettles her, so she wanders the motel corridors in search of Teddy. Eventually, she notices the door to room 18 hanging slightly open. Peeking inside, she finds the room empty, until Teddy suddenly appears behind her, just finishing up some cleaning. Relieved, Gwen apologizes for being late. The two officially meet face-to-face for the first time, since their only contact before had been over the phone. Teddy assures her that her timing is perfect. He has a date with his new girlfriend and needs someone to watch the motel in his absence. Normally, his friend Carmen would cover nights, but she's taking time off to care for her sick child. As they chat, a mounted bear head unexpectedly crashes to the floor, startling Gwen. Teddy brushes it off, explaining the building is old, passed down through his family for generations, and hasn't been renovated in decades. He tells her he's already applied for a loan and has big plans to rebuild the motel from the ground up. Teddy then gives Gwen a quick tour. Each room has the basics: TV, bed, and mini fridge. Rates run $91 a night, except for room 13, which goes for just $45 thanks to local superstitions about the unlucky number. He asks Gwen to tidy room 8, which the last guest left in a mess, then shows her the supply closet, reminding her to wedge the door open since it locks from the outside. On their walk, Gwen also notices an abandoned swimming pool out back. Teddy explains it's been closed for months because of a leak he hasn't had time to fix. Before leaving, he presses some cash into her hand so she can order dinner, since she hasn't eaten. Still uneasy, Gwen admits she's nervous about being alone all night. Teddy reassures her. In all his years, the motel has never seen a single crime. There are security cameras everywhere, and in case she ever feels threatened, there's even an axe stashed beside the vending machine outside. If anything serious happens, she can call him, or the police. He promises he'll be back promptly at 7 a.m. Once Teddy heads out, Gwen settles into her shift. But soon, she notices something odd: the shadow of a woman drifting from the direction of room 6. Checking the guest log, Gwen sees the room is booked to a woman named Alice Marsh. Curious, she knocks on the door. Alice doesn't respond, just stands there silently. Gwen tells her she can call the desk any time if she needs something. But as Gwen turns to leave, she catches a glimpse of Alice's hand, her fingers smeared with red. The sight unsettles her, making her wonder what exactly Alice is hiding. Trying to shake off the unease, Gwen heads back to the lobby to start cleaning room 8, just as Teddy had asked. Before Gwen can even process their arrival, Warner and Lucy request a room, insisting it's just for a couple of hours. Their energy feels strange, almost unsettling, but since Teddy allows walk-ins, Gwen hands them the key to room 7. Not long after, Gwen catches glimpses of them through the security monitors. Their behavior grows more erratic, as though they're not really guests, but intruders using the motel for something else entirely. Uneasy, Gwen tries to focus on her duties, until she notices Alice slipping quietly out of room 6. Curious, Gwen follows her outside, where Alice appears to be nervously pacing under the dim glow of the motel lights. When asked what's wrong, Alice admits she feels unsafe, especially after noticing the green car circling the motel again. Just as Gwen tries to reassure her, a loud bang echoes from inside. The sound came from room 7. Rushing back, Gwen knocks, but receives no answer. When she peeks through the crack, she sees Warner and Lucy arguing aggressively. Their behavior raises alarms, but Gwen decides it's best not to interfere. Later, as the night grows deeper, the reception phone rings again. This time, the call is from inside the motel, but Gwen can't tell which room. A distorted voice on the line whispers something she can't fully understand before the connection abruptly cuts. Startled by the noise, Alice emerges from room 6, but her concern is trivial. Her hairdryer has broken. Gwen, still trembling, helps search the storage room for a replacement. She finds one, but as Alice turns, she accidentally trips over the brick propping the door. It slams shut, locking them both inside. The storage room can only be opened from the outside. Alice panics, pounding on the door, but Gwen reminds her that no other guests are staying here. Just when despair sets in, fortune intervenes. The delivery man arrives with Gwen's food order, hears their cries, and frees them. Relieved, Gwen invites Alice to share dinner. As they eat, Alice confesses why she's run away from home. Her mother is suffocatingly strict, forbidding her from even small acts of independence like dyeing her hair or going out with friends. The red stain Gwen noticed on Alice's fingers earlier, it came from a failed attempt at dyeing her hair. Feeling trapped, Alice fled. Gwen listens carefully and sympathizes, but she reminds Alice that sometimes strict parents act out of love, not cruelty. Gwen shares her own painful story. Her mother was equally controlling, but she eventually realized it was a form of protection. Her mother's death years ago left Gwen with a deep sense of regret and loss. She gently urges Alice to return home before it's too late, warning her how dangerous the world can be for a young woman on her own. Later that night, Gwen steps outside for a drink from the vending machine. The same green car is circling the motel again, moving slowly, almost stalking the property. Dread coils in her chest. She peers through the window and nearly jumps when Alice suddenly appears behind her. Tired, Alice says she's going to bed. Gwen warns her to lock the door tight. After cleaning up the lobby, Gwen is startled once again, this time by the arrival of two strangers. A man named Warner and his companion Lucy. They seem intrigued by the motel's eerie, old-fashioned charm, but their request is unusual. They only want the room for a few hours. Gwen stands her ground, firmly reminding Warner that motel policy requires a full night's stay. But Warner persists, even slipping extra cash across the counter. Reluctantly, Gwen caves and hands him the key to room 2. Something about him unsettles her though. Driven by suspicion, she quietly peers through the door and recoils in shock. Warner and Lucy are in the middle of rough role-play. Disturbed, she retreats, trying to shake off what she saw. Her wandering takes her to the abandoned swimming pool, where she notices a strange crack at the bottom, almost like a hole. The railing around the pool wobbles dangerously, yet Gwen leans closer for a better look. Without warning, the railing gives way, sending her crashing into the empty basin. Dazed and terrified, Gwen's eyes widen as a ghostly woman begins to rise from the crack in the floor. Screaming in panic, she thrashes until Alice rushes in and pulls her to safety. Still trembling, Gwen can barely speak. Alice, alarmed, demands to know what she saw. Suspecting the worst, Alice warns Gwen she may have encountered the infamous spirit rumored to haunt the motel. She explains that countless stories brand the place as cursed, its halls stalked by sinister forces. One of the reasons she chose to stay here, Alice admits, was to uncover whether those rumors were true. Before Gwen can respond, Warner and Lucy's voices echo through the night. They're already checking out, their brief stay over. The sound stirs Gwen's anxiety, prompting her to finally confide in Alice about the green car that keeps circling the property. Her fear only deepens as buried memories resurface. Years ago, Gwen's life was shattered when a man named Walton Gray brutally murdered her mother and sisters. Gwen survived only by fighting back, and Walton was eventually caught and imprisoned. But now, the nightmare has returned. Just 2 days ago, he escaped. The thought chills her to the bone. Could the driver of the green car be Walton, hunting her to finish what he started? Alice listens, then urges Gwen to call the police immediately and request surveillance around the motel. With Walton on the loose, precautions are vital. She also decides, with Gwen's earlier words echoing in her mind, that she'll leave the motel at first light and return home to mend things with her mother. Later, Gwen returns to the front desk. On the flickering CCTV monitor, she sees a shadowy figure slowly approaching the lobby. Her blood runs cold. It's the same ghostly woman. Terrified, Gwen dials Teddy Miles, insisting she wants to quit because the motel is haunted. But Teddy scoffs, denying everything. In all his years running the place, he insists he's never seen a ghost. Gwen doesn't believe him. She senses he's hiding something. Suddenly, the desk bell rings. Startled, Gwen looks up to find a man waiting at the counter. He appears normal enough, but something about him feels off. Paying cash, he requests a room, and Gwen reluctantly hands him the key to room 8. Then he makes an unusual request. He wants her to escort him. Nervously, she agrees. As they walk outside, Gwen spots his car parked nearby. Her stomach drops. It's dark green, the same car that's been circling the motel. Her worst fears ignite. This man must be Walton Gray. Inside room 8, he shuts the door and quickly peers out the window, as if checking to see if someone is watching. Panic seizes Gwen. She grabs a pair of scissors and stabs at him in self-defense. But before she can strike again, the man shouts her name. "Gwen, it's me!" Stunned, she freezes. He identifies himself as Raymond Bailey, a psychiatrist who has treated her for more than 12 years at Ashford Psychiatric Facility. His words unravel everything she thought she knew. Raymond explains the unthinkable. Gwen isn't a motel employee. She's an escaped psychiatric patient who fled the hospital just 2 days ago. Walton Gray never existed. He was nothing more than a figment of her fractured mind. And then comes the most devastating truth of all. The murders that haunted Gwen's memory weren't committed by Walton. They were committed by Gwen herself. Years of abuse at the hands of her mother, who favored her younger siblings and subjected Gwen to cruelty, finally broke her. One night, she snapped. She slaughtered her own family. The ghosts she's been seeing at the motel, they aren't strangers. They're the lingering spirits of her mother and sisters, forever bound to her by guilt and blood. Raymond pleads with Gwen, urging her to come back with him. He stresses that she needs proper treatment, that it's the only way she can heal. But his words only fuel her rage. In a violent frenzy, Gwen lashes out and murders him. Moments later, the psychiatric staff arrive at the motel to bring her back. Calmly, almost calculatingly, Gwen lures them into room 8. Once inside, her madness erupts. She savagely attacks, slaughtering 2 of the orderlies with terrifying precision. The commotion draws Alice, who rushes to the scene. She opens the door and freezes in horror at the carnage before her. But before she can run, Gwen turns on her, chasing her down through the motel's darkened halls. Alice barely makes it a few steps before Gwen catches her, mercilessly ending her life. Not long after, Teddy returns to the motel, completely unaware of the nightmare that has unfolded. Stepping into room 8, his eyes widen at the sight of bloodstains soaking the bed. Panicked, he searches the grounds, calling out for Gwen. By the pool, he finally finds her, standing there, calm, almost serene. But before he can grasp what's happened, Gwen strikes, brutally killing him as well. 1 year later, the All Tucked Motel looks nothing like it once did. Fresh paint brightens the walls. The pool sparkles as if brand new, and the entire property carries a warm, welcoming charm that hides its dark past. A man named Tom arrives, instantly captivated by the motel's beauty. At the front desk, he's greeted with a warm smile by none other than Gwen herself. Polished, professional, and disarmingly kind. He books a room, and Gwen cheerfully offers him her favorite, room 8. And with that, the story comes to its chilling close. If you enjoyed this chilling story, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next horror recap. Stay safe and stay out of room 8.